Mobility has always been more than movement. It has fueled freedom, forged connections, powered commerce, and driven progress throughout history. Moving Minds is a series about the people behind the systems, the visionaries, experts, and builders shaping the future of how we move. These are voices that often remain within specialist circles, yet their decisions quietly shape the systems we all depend on. Our mission is simple: to bring their stories, insights, and experiences to the wider mobility industry, giving stage to the thinking and decisions that will define the future of mobility.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Moving Minds. Today on Moving Minds, I am pleased to welcome someone whose career reflects the increasing intersection between technology, resilience, and the systems that keep our world moving. His name is Guido Barbero, and he has spent his career navigating complex environments where security, operational continuity, and trust are not operational but foundational. His experience spans highly interconnected industrial and mobility ecosystems where digital transformation bridge enormous opportunities, but also entirely new categories of risk and responsibility. And what makes Guido particularly interesting is the breadth of his perspective. He operates in a world where cybersecurity is no longer just about protecting systems, but about enabling confidence in how complex organizations evolve, innovate, and adapt. And that requires not only technical depth, it also requires strategic judgment, pragmatism, and the ability to bring very different stakeholders together around one common purpose and mission. At Moving Minds, we are interested in the people behind the decisions, not just their titles, but the leaders who help shape industries and which are often behind the scenes, but they are the ones that balance innovation with responsibility and vision and execution. And Guido is exactly that kind of a leader, and therefore we are very happy to have him with us. Thank you so much for joining. It's a real pleasure to have you with us, Guido, and welcome to Moving Minds.
Thanks to you, Giuseppe, and hi, everybody.
Perfect. So let's jump right into the question. And the first question is always for me is to ask about your journey. And when you look at your career, and as I've explained, you are at the intersection of technology, resilience, mobility, obviously. What was it that originally drew you into this world? And was there a defining moment that set you on this particular path?
Okay, I started to work a long time ago, and after a period where I worked in different sector as a consultant, and especially in the aerospace area, but not only, I started to work for the automotive, initially as a consultant, following security project. And then I step in to IVECO beginning 2001 with the role of the security responsibility. Then I managed both the security, the infrastructure, and then also the cloud operation for a long period. And now I only dedicated, since a couple of years, only dedicated to cybersecurity because it's becoming more and more important, engaging, and we also add all the components related to the connected vehicle that and now also the AI that is becoming a very challenging task to be accomplished. So we need to have a dedicated team, dedicated role, and to stay in touch every day, every week with the innovation, with things that are coming out from the market, from the news, technology evolution, cyber attack evolution, and so on.
Mm. Now, in your role, and I mean, all the people that work in the cybersecurity world, there is an irony. And the irony is that those roles, the way that success is measured is if things don't happen. And what is it that gives you personally a sense of purpose or lasting impact in the role that you described?
Very difficult question, but I believe that what motivate myself and also my team is to be proud of support the company in a difficult to navigate in a difficult ocean, where there are a lot of issues starting from the technological, starting from the cyber attack, and also from the new regulation that are coming month over month, and we need to accomplish them, and are also helping us to introduce additional security control and so on. So we are proud to defend the company. We are passionate about our work, and that's all.
Yeah, that's a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and the as you described, the challenges are growing. They're not getting less. So, what is it? Is there something specific about your role that most people, maybe even in the industry, um, fundamentally misunderstand? Is there anything? And I get it. So every company is obviously different. So is there anything about your role where you think in our industry there's one particular thing where people don't really understand what this is all about?
I believe that it depends from the perspective, because when you speak with people that doesn't know the specific your role, they maybe can misunderstood the fact that you are operating with a larger responsibility that start with the compliance, with the forensic, and then move to the technology, to the evolution with a different level of protection, detection, and so on. So people can misunderstand the role thinking that is a technical role. Other can think that there is a governance role to be compliant, to write documents, to compile checklists, and so on. But to do now this kind of role, the CISO in a complex organization is all of them and much more. So you have responsibility. You are involved in all the project. You are involved in all the activity. You are involved in also in all the company business, because when you do a merger, an acquisition, this investor, when you do a new business initiative, when you go to the customer as a company, when you go to the employee to provide a new service and so on, you are always involved, because there are a lot of things related to the cybersecurity and the compliance that should be managed in the right way. And people misunderstood that. One thing that people probably misunderstood is the fact that cybersecurity and in general IT security and compliance is not a block for their ideas, is not an additional weight for the business, but it's the only way to enable the new initiative in the different area, and are not are mandatory, let me say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I like this perspective actually a lot, because I totally agree. It's an enabler. At the end of the day, it's like having brakes. Why do we have brakes? It's because the vehicle can go
Yes.
way more faster, and you know how to brake and make this in a safe way. So I totally like this kind of perspective. Guido, mobility is becoming increasingly these days so-called software-defined, or even now new buzzwords like AI, DV, and operationally there is a lot of interdependency. In your view, what is the most, again, here, is there anything that is misunderstood in terms of the challenge that leaders would underestimate today on this journey?
But the challenges for the automotive industry, especially for the trucks, are related to the evolution in terms of sustainability, affordability, and in general all the world related to the electrification, the new fuel, so hydrogen, hybrid, and CNG. So the idea is to reduce the impact on the environment, to help the new technology to be developed, and also to provide more service, especially for the trucks that have a long range emission, because then you need to have an interaction between the vehicle and the drivers, and maybe also the company that manage the fleet, in order to simplify the life of the drivers, to simplify the life of the fleet owners, and so on. So including embedding into the vehicle a lot of services, having a direct interaction between the vehicle and the driver. It means that you have to insert a lot of software both in the vehicle, then surrounding the vehicle, to provide the right services in the most smartest way and also in the most secure way. Because when you come to the cybersecurity, a vehicle, especially an EV duty vehicle, is a big monster that run on an highway and should not attack it and hack it in no way, because it becomes very dangerous for everybody.
Absolutely. Now, when people talk about the future of mobility, the spotlight often goes into what is the innovation that is being put in place. What is it that is visible as something that is the new fancy stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think there are forces, I would say even quite or quieter forces or capabilities that you personally believe will actually determine who succeeds? And I'm thinking here in terms of specific to your role today, the very long life cycle of the vehicle and how to enable and protect until end of life. Do you
Yeah.
think there are those quieter forces beyond the buzz or the hype of innovation?
But there are, if I well understood the question, I believe that one of the forces that has to be taken in consideration is the fact that there is a reduction of the drivers available on the market. So it becomes more and more important to have a vehicle with capability of autonomous driving. It means also another software. It means integration of the vehicle with the ecosystem that surround the vehicle, the road, and so on. So I believe that these forces will will lead to have a sort of autonomous and integrated system that is traveling on the road without no human intervention, or at least the minimum human intervention.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely critical. Now let's have a different perspective, and as we like here in Moving Minds, we always want to put the spotlight on the people and their roles. How has your role changed over the last few years? As mobility systems have become more connected, and indeed today they are in reality a distributed system, a lot of digital stuff, and arguably they are now way more exposed. What do you think leadership in your position will require next?
Uh, the role is dramatically changed because the security is becoming at the center of the attention also of the board, especially when you go to the world of connected vehicle, because from one side you need to deliver safety on your product, and from the other side, since you are embedded in an innovation cycle that is very fast and is very based on new technology, you need to support them with the right people, the right tool, and to be able to define the process and the controls that are also subjected to external control, external audit, because you know better than me that now regulation to homologate vehicle are very IG as a requirement, and so this is from one side is a pain, from the other side is good because they oblige us to implement a lot of process, a lot of control that before we never think about it, or we see, okay, this is the best in class control that somebody should have in the world, but now we have to do it. For instance, the DevSecOps cycle, the continuous monitoring, vulnerability testing, software code testing, that are things that 4 years ago, we never did. And now we are trying to use our, let me say, ecosystem of the connected vehicle, ecosystem of the cloud, API, and so on, what we have had as a sort of pilot for new technology that then we extend also to the corporate IT.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in particular, when we talk about, you highlight the fact how much the role has changed and how much organization therefore also needs to adapt to the new realities. Let's talk a minute about what leadership in that context means. So, when all the complexity that you described rises and maybe even priorities collide and decisions need to be made with sometimes imperfect information. Yeah, we don't have all the experience because there's a lot of new stuff going on. What is your mindset that keeps you sort of grounded?
I believe that the leadership has to be developed with, let me say, I will say that having in mind the fact that you need not to be a deep technical expert. Maybe you comes from a deep technical expertise, but now it's no more required. It's not required for the role that I have. So you need to understand the technology, what are the implications, but you don't need to go deep in this technology. But you need to be a leader that is able to understand which are the right people that know the technology, that can operate successfully and put in the right place from my side. So you need to become a very expert to select the right people and to motivate them and to insert in a complex project to support them. And from another side, you need to the leadership is spreading the area of communication. You need to communicate to your peers, to your boss, but also to the board what you are doing and why you are doing this, avoiding obviously the technical aspect, but simplify very complex technology layers that you put in place and process just to let them understand that you are doing the right thing to comply with the laws, the regulation, and to defend the company. And this is a skill that every people that is embarking on this role should develop, because the communication with the board, with the first level of the CEO is essential to succeed, because they need to be sure that you are doing the right thing, and they need to put a commitment in the other department of the organization to support the operation that you are, let me say, the project that you are developing, the operation that you are doing.
Mm-hmm. So you effectively become a proxy for the trust towards management, but also kind of the people, the person to look up to from the team that has a clear vision where the direction needs to go. Now, on all the things that you shared with us, when you look at your career and you reflect what you have achieved so far and what type of impact you personally are most proud of, and it can be not necessarily the biggest headline for you, but maybe there's one thing that really matters most to you. Can you share that with us? What is it that you are really proud of throughout your career in these type of roles?
Difficult to say. As I said before, probably one of the things that I'm most proud is the ability that we had, myself and my team had to put in place let me say, the monitoring system that start from looking at the vulnerabilities, looking at the external system, going depth with the ADR, with the CM to collect data, the CTI. So to create this, let me say, sophisticated and very deep level of detection and anticipation of the security event. We are very proud of this because when we look at the event that every day happens in the market, and I receive a lot of warning. This was accurate in this way. We had the phishing there. We had the ransomware there. So most of the people is scared. We are also scared because we don't believe we are secure at 100%, but we know that we have an high capability of detection of the event, and we are also very fast in reaction. This doesn't mean that we won't be accurate, but anyway, it is a thing that we are proud.
Yeah, I think that notion that there is no 100% security is in the head of anyone who is in the security business. That's clear. But what I really much appreciate, and this is something that I hear a lot, is that the irony of someone being in cyber and at a leadership role like you, being a CISO, people from the outside think that you have to be very conservative because you are protecting something. But what you just said, it's actually the opposite. You need to innovate in order to keep up with the bad guys who are innovating and finding new ways to attack all the time. So the irony is that internally you need to be always ready to something that is changing constantly, while people think that you have to just try to protect and block things from happen. So this is a very interesting perspective.
Yes. I spent 30% of my time, maybe more, looking at new solution, speaking with new supplier, understanding comparison, benchmark, what are the evolution on the market, things like that. That is fundamental in this role, in this moment, because every day there is a new threat. Now, maybe we spoke about anthropic mythos that comes immediately, and people is very worried. They say, okay, but this is in the news, but the hacker already do is this, already use artificial intelligence model to discover and exploit vulnerability. So you need to stay at the pace. It's difficult, but it's also very emotional and involvement if you have the passion to follow this kind of technology.
Yeah, actually, that's a perfect segue into my next question. So let's talk about AI. Obviously, AI is not only bad, there's also a lot of good things that come
Absolutely.
with it. And from your perspective, is AI mostly a force multiplier, a new risk surface, or fundamentally something that is helping to shift in how leadership decisions get made? And has it changed how you personally work?
There are different aspects on this point. For sure, AI is not only bad, for sure, and in a company like ours that have developed a couple of center of expertise on AI and are developing a lot of projects using also, I don't want to say proprietary AI, but let's say private AI system. It's very interesting to see how this is evolving, and we are now introducing also in our process, in our tools, in order to help us to speed up detection, reporting, but not only, also to help, let me say, defining the requirement to, for instance, let me say, a case that could be let me say very basic, but it's very important when we are trying to apply the AI, is how we manage the firewall request. We have a lot of firewall in the company because we are very segregated, and so when everything change, normally new system, new project, new access, so we have a lot of firewall requests, and the usual cycle of our request is that people that ask things that cannot be done, or maybe ask in the wrong way, don't know what are the network, don't know what are the protocols, and so on. So when we receive a firewall request, we spend a lot of time, my team, to qualify. Say, okay, but what do you want to do, and why, and where? Are you sure? And so on and so on. So this is a first step. Take a long time, and we decided now to step in with the artificial intelligence to help us on this process. That is very basic, but could save a lot of time and also a lot of money to for the time employed by the team to qualify the request. This is good, but also not only we are introducing system that have AI embedded that for the detection, the first level of detection, the analysis of the bad protocol, but also documentation. The AI is very good on documentation, maybe too much, because when you receive a report done with AI, there are a lot of things that probably, if a human has to write, it has been skipped, but then you can, using the right skill, you can reduce and having a synthetic view of what's happened. And this is very good for the AI.
Yeah, so I'm hearing that it's positive and it's helping, and the bad guys use it already. So should we?
Yes. For the other side, the AI is the new buzzword. So everybody in the company would like to use AI. They would like to use non-official tool. They would like to do this and that. And so we have to contain, to stop, to do the analysis, to be compliant with the AI Act. And this creates friction, obviously. But okay, that's part of our job to have friction, because we cannot allow to enter our intellectual property in the internet just to use AI and to be nice with the boss. Say, I'm using AI. This is the mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's part of, the leadership role to give the boundaries what should be done and what not.
Yes.
Good. Let's look a little bit, on the future. And if we look ahead, what type of developments in mobility are you genuinely excited about? And not just from a technological perspective, but maybe also in terms of what they could enable for our society or our industry. Is there anything that is really exciting on the horizon for you?
As I said before, I believe the autonomous driving will be the most exciting things that has to come, because it would be a very step ahead, both for the, let me say, the commercial, but also for the people life. So imagine that have autonomous driving, maybe with a shared cars, pooling, things like that, that will bring you into the city without being obliged to drive, to pay attention to the speed limit, to pay sanction because you didn't pay attention a lot, or maybe the traffic jam. So this would be, in my opinion, maybe only hope a real evolution for a better life of the people and also the commercial vehicle.
Mm. On the other side, if you look at, the standard question is what would keep you up at night with all the innovation that is going on? So, in other words, what is it that might concern you when you think about where mobility in general is heading?
What keep me up at night? Normally, I sleep at night, but anyway, what keep me? Let me say, what keep me up at night is the fact that embedding a lot of software and components and operating system, then you need to, let me say, to set up also there the patching cycle, the vulnerability management, and so on. That is very difficult, and now should increase the speed due to the fact that the attacker using artificial intelligence. This is what keep me up at night. So thinking of too much software on the vehicle, surrounding the vehicle, that needs to be patched, that need to be remediated when a vulnerability comes, and need to be done at the speed of light. That is, for the moment, very difficult.
Okay, so keeping you yourself and the team educated and being able to articulate how you're protecting the company to the management is something that helps to have at least a better sleeping nights, right?
Yes.
Great. So I'm coming here to my last question, and this is the question I ask everyone on this show. So if there would be one thing, so if you could whisper one piece of advice, someone just entering this industry today, what would you tell them? What should they focus on? What should they have as their North Star sort of saying if they want to be successful?
I say a couple of things. First of all, to have a real deep competency in what they are doing. So to study, continuous learning, to be up to date, and then also to develop a good professional behavior. So because you don't need only to be a technician, you need to be a technician, you need to be updated, but you need also to develop a network of the people that can support you, can help you. You need to be empathetic. You need to understand how to treat people with dignity and to be a good partner in the team. This doesn't mean that you need to accept all the things that you will find, especially if you do cybersecurity, but this means that you have to do the thing in the right way, to be an educated, what we call a critical friend. This is my...
Yeah. Maybe just one follow-up question to that, as I'm hearing what you say. Do you believe that the perception of the role of a CISO has grown because of the innovation, the new technology, the new risks, the speed at which things change? Do you think in the positioning towards recognition and perception towards the board, but also how critical this role is within organization? Do you feel that in our industry in particular, there is more, it's more rewarding, it's more appreciated to be in that type of roles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The role of CISO dramatically changed. He became the attention of the board. I'm not speaking about myself, but also in general. So that's the role of CISO is becoming central as a business enabler, and also both the regulation, both the news, about the things that are evolving dramatically, bring the CISO role to the attention of the top management, and this becoming very important. If I compare with some years ago, okay, you are doing security, let's do that, full stop. Now it's essential, and the top management would like to know what the CISO are doing, if the CISO is doing the right thing, and why they are spending their money, but they are willing to spend for the security. So it's becoming a very much more important than 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Guido, thank you so much. We have come to the end. As always, your insights, your candor, also touching a lot of things that are part of your personal journey and legacy. I think it's a fascinating story. Thank you so much for being with us, and yeah, all the best.
Thank you.
If today's conversation offered a new perspective on what drives mobility, we'd love for you to follow the series, share it, and tell us your thoughts. You'll find more episodes with the people shaping what's next. One question, one insight, one decision at a time. Until next time, keep moving forward.